Hello again. Welcome to Revelations from the Courtroom of Heaven. Aaron here with you. This episode, we're going to get real. We're going to call this one, God is in the Struggle. So we've talked about God has given us authority. He's building us up. We go from glory to glory. We're entrusted with this and that. We go through trials, tribulations in order to be deemed worthy to carry mantles to contain God's authority. Like Christ suffered, we too suffer with him, and we inherit that glory because of our suffering with him, because that we deal with things in this earth that just aren't right. And I don't know about you, but when you look around you, there is so much unrighteousness, and it will get worse. You know, the gross darkness is on the people, and it's just going to get darker. The gross darkness is in culture, it's in politics, it's everywhere. And in the middle of it all, we have our own issues. So we're getting vexed. We're getting weighed down by the unrighteousness that exists all around about us, the lying, the stealing, the killing, the faults, this and that everywhere. People trying to show justice, to show something as righteous justice when it's really just hate concealed as justice. You know, the Marxism that's alive in this country to get people all stirred up just to get a whole political agenda going. The people so stirred up don't see what's going on. Now I'm venting to you. And so it's good to vent to God, right? It's good to vent to each other, but it's good to understand that God is in this struggle with us, right? And how many of you know the word says that when you hunger and thirst for righteousness, you're blessed. And yours is the kingdom of heaven for having done so. So God knew everything that would take place. And if you're vexed by unrighteousness, well, that just means that you belong to God, because it's a good thing that you're not in agreement with it. And it's that you're suffering means that you don't like it. So there you go. So we can all have that feather in our cap, right? So, but the struggle is real, you guys. But we're going to look at a psalm here. I just feel to read this to you guys. A psalm here that God sees it all, right? So this is Psalm 73, a psalm of Asaph. Put your name there. Truly, God is good to Israel, to such as are pure in heart. But as for me, my feet had almost stumbled. My steps had nearly slipped, for I was envious of the boastful when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Now, does that ring true to you? Do you see people getting away with all kind of unrighteousness, still increasing in their gains, not getting found out, just going down the line, seemingly getting rewarded for their blasphemy against God, for their unrighteousness? So Asaph saying, I was envious of the boastful when I saw their prosperity. He's like, hey, look what you have, really? Okay, well, I kind of want what you have there. I'm being true with you, God. I'm envying them. They're not serving you, and look what they have. Look at the life they have. Look at their wife or their girlfriend. Look at their money. Look at their friends. Look, they're coming against this guy right here, and he's just down in it, and he's going to stay right down in the dirt, and this guy that's doing this to him just gets this elevator into a great penthouse where he's going to just pop his champagne and kick back. Look at that. Well, I envy that a little bit. I look at his prosperity, and that just doesn't sit right with me, and why does he get to have that when I don't? He's being real. Verse 4. For there are no pangs in their death, but their strength is firm. They're not suffering. They're not weak. Is what he's saying. Verse 5, they are not in trouble as other men, nor are they plagued like other men. Therefore, pride serves as their necklace. Violence covers them like a garment. Their eyes bulge with abundance. They have more than a heart could wish for. They scoff and speak wickedly concerning oppression. they speak loftily. Verse 9, they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walks through the earth. Therefore, his people return here, and waters of a full cup are drained by them. And they say, how does God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? So he's just looking at all this and saying, God, do you really see what's going on? And these boastful people are saying, what does God know? Does God really contain knowledge? That's what their boastful spirit is saying. That if you could put words to the vexation of this man, he's viewing these people saying all these things against God and just kind of gloating that I'm not serving God, and look at me, and God, what are you going to do? Just spitting right in God's face. That's what this guy sees. Behold, these are the ungodly, who are always at ease. They increase in riches. Surely I have cleansed my heart in vain. That is brutal honesty right there. Verse 12, behold, these are the ungodly who are always at ease. They increase in riches. Surely I have cleansed my heart in vain. So he's saying, surely I have gone through the situations and the hard things in life that will get my heart cleansed, fight against sin, forgive people, love God above all else. But surely I have cleansed my heart in vain and washed my hands in innocence, for all day long I have been plagued and chastened every morning. So the amalgam, the combination of all these emotions that this righteous man is feeling, he's like, I go through so much just to be right with you, God, and just to get put in this world and to get dirty again. I've gone through so much, and was it even worth it? Because here I am, right in this situation again. I'm feeling these envious feelings towards these people. And, all that I've gone through for you, what does it get me? I feel, at the very best, I feel ordinary. On my best day, I'm just a regular guy that still has nothing. And on my worst day, I'm filled with all this contempt for all these people that get everything that they want, and they're just going to keep getting it. For all day long, I have been plagued and chastened every morning. If I had said, I will speak thus, behold, I would have been untrue to the generation of your children. Verse 16, when I thought how to understand this, it was too painful for me. Just at his wit's end, trying to understand, how could this be real? When God is on his throne in heaven and has all power and authority, how can this be real? Until, verse 17, until I went into the sanctuary of God. Then I understood their end. And it's funny, so we're called to be in the world, but not of it, right? But we don't spend all of our day in church, right, where we get the word. We don't spend all of our day, in the presence of God only. We're in a world, but when we get back to God, everything else fades away. That those burdens and those envious feelings and all that humanity that's just mixed in with all this horrible stuff going on, it goes away. We get reminded. So until I was in the sanctuary of God, then I understood their end. Verse 18, surely you set them in slippery places. You cast them down to destruction. Oh, how they are brought to desolation as in a moment. They are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awakes, so, Lord, when you awake, you shall despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was vexed in my mind. I was so foolish and ignorant, I was like a beast before you, he says to God. So all of that venting that was going on, all of those feelings of being envy of people who are unrighteous, and all this, the whole thing that comes out of that human heart that we all have, all of those things come out right there. In verse 21, thus my heart was grieved, I was vexed in my mind, I was so foolish and ignorant, I was like a beast before you, God. When I was venting to you, God, and being real with you and saying it's not really worth it, look at that guy, what can that be me, God, all these types of stuff. Now he's saying when he's refreshed, when he's in his right mind before God, having been cleansed, he says, God, I was so foolish and ignorant, I was like a beast before you. So my question to you, Have you been in this place? Is this reality, right? Is this reality to you? Verse 23, nevertheless. So I was, in verse 22, I was so foolish and ignorant. I was like a beast before you. 23, nevertheless, I am continually with you, God. You hold me by my right hand. You will guide me with your counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. Cue the choir. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, and God lets all these things be in the Bible for a reason. And it was just so on me that this is such a word we need to hear of this man who had all these complex feelings, being so grieved, and he was an important man to be entrusted to write a psalm, right? So he was of God, called of God, equipped to be of God, but yet he was so grieved. He was so human, right? He was so human and brought to the very lowly part of his humanity. And nevertheless, I am continually with you, he's saying. So, God, despite all of this, despite all my horrible feelings, me venting, me wanting this, wanting that, me being so vexed, nevertheless, I am continually with you. You will hold me by my right hand. You will guide me with your counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. I went through all this. I had all these feelings. I was even stupid to you, God, but you still hold my hand. You'll still receive me to your glory. You'll still give me counsel. You'll still guide me. And so this is so important because we can know all the protocols of the courts. We could have a high position, but humanity is still going to come our way. Being vexed by the unrighteousness we see is still going to be our way. We're still going to miss the mark. Our humanity is still going to spill over, right? Because we are human. We are frail, right? But yet, we can still trust God for his counsel. We can get ourselves back up, know that God sees that we're human, and we can still be everything he's made us to be. And so this is such a big fight within the church, is this unworthiness that this psalm should help to cure, right? Is that even though we have all this stuff going on, I am continually with God. He will hold me by my right hand. He will guide me with his counsel. And after all of it's through, he will receive me to his glory. So sometimes when you do all the right things, you're still going to go through it. And sometimes in order to do all the right things and be trusted, God will put you through it. So know this, that there's a time to be so sharp within the courts and have the protocol and know what to do, know what the enemy's doing, know what judgments God's leading you to make, knowing how to approach God, knowing how to grow within his court, knowing how to be in that proper place at the proper time to exact his judgment. All that comes, but then through it all, there's the humanity. And we need to know that it's okay, that we're not leaving God, but we come back to God, and then after he cleans us back up, and there's courts for this. I've gone through rejuvenation, all kind of different renewal courts. After we go through it, we can still answer that call. We can still take on the right case. We can still represent people before God and feel worthy to do so, okay? Because we are going from glory to glory. We are going from precept to precept, right? We are in great need of the mercy of God, but we're able to release the mercy of God in our life. We're able to, when we need to, receive that mercy, and it's all about God. I just need your mercy now. I can't give anything to anybody. I need your grace right now. I can't give anything to anybody. But God will build you back up to be able to release all the things, because God's going to have us do so much for him. And if the cares and concerns and the vexation of life beats us down, we need to know how to get back up, right? We need to know that it is all well with our soul, So that's a big aspect of this, knowing when to get back up, knowing when to vent before God. And there's, courts to do all this. The court of calling is that great intimate court where you can vent everything before God and have him access the deep hurts and pains within you and clean you and do all this stuff. There's different courts for all this stuff, you guys. But so it's okay to be human, expect it, but also understand that it will be up to you to remind yourself of God's goodness, to get in his presence, and to allow him to pick you back up, to restore you right to where you were. Because we go from glory to glory to glory, right? But when we feel so low, it's like, well, God, I know you had me at this glory, but I can only be at this glory right now, or no glory. I feel so unworthy. But God wants us to go back, right back. That's the grace of God. Go back to where we left off. Because sometimes that fall can be so far. We need that goodness of God, and we need him to remind us and to help us get back up. It's not always easy. All right, well, I hope this encouraged you. I hope this let you see that you are human, made in God's image for a divine likeness, but we're not there yet. We're being transformed from glory to glory in his image, but where he has you at, see yourself there. And if you need to, let him show you who you really are to him. Until next time, I'm Aaron.